Hello YouTube and welcome back to the channel. How has Jennie's career changed since going solo? How have all the girls changed? Maybe we can do a video into that, talking about stuff like their careers and their musics and like the characteristics, all the things that we discussed previously in the reaction videos. How has it changed? Now, there has been a big difference, and I was looking through online here for looking at this is up from the Career Times. Now, I'll read you an article out and let me know what you think. This section is chapter called Beyond the K. For years, Jennie was the face of K-pop. Blackpink shattered records, sold out arenas, and performed at Coachella. She was an idol, carefully crafted by an entertainment company to be a marketable and accessible. Now, we talked about this before, right? I won't break into too much detail. I'll get through the article, but we talked about how, the strong sort of bonds and sort of like the demands of being in a K-pop girl group. We figured this out. We did research before, didn't we, guys? But now she's proving that an idol can transcend the K-pop label and become an artist. See, this is what we're talking about. Like, her music hasn't been. Would we even class it as K-pop anymore? I don't think so. We call it Gen Pop. I think it's best we call it Gen Pop. I think in the future. Anyway. Where are we to? So no longer just a product of an industry, a global musician. And that shift might actually be a good thing for Korea. She's not just successful in her niche, she's successful, period. Now remember, guys, this is the Korea Times talking about this. The shift could redefine how some Korean artists are seen. Instead of being labelled as K-pop stars, they can simply be pop stars. No extra tag needed. And that's not a loss. It's progress. It means Korean music is being judged not as a separate category, but as a part of the same global conversation. Obviously, those with vested interest in Hallyu, us as a brand and a concept, will be disappointed. But the term itself feels tired, and the whole Korean wave idea is pretty cliche now. I agree. I think that, you got to stop saying these girls are just K-pop. K-pop is this. It's transponded. I think Blackpink also, as much as any other artist group that we've reacted to, have kind of spreaded that it's K-pop to, oh, that's K-pop over there on that side of the globe, and we have our music over here. It's transcending, like the collaborations with which I'll go into here. Actually, funny enough, it says like Dua Lipa and Doechii, those kind of collaborations, right? But the term itself feels tired, and the whole Korean wave idea is pretty cliche now. It's at least a decade old or something. No one's surprised by it anymore. The country, the culture has been analysed and done to death. Facts. All the mystery and freshness that came with the K has been lost. I do okay, fair enough. And Jennie and G-Dragon are leading the way. No longer just idols, no longer just K-pop, just artists making music that stands on its own, and listening to tracks like Extra L, Zen, like Jennie, and Handlebars. You realise that the complete absence of Korean lyrics, with all the swearing, the collabs, Dua Lipa, Doechii, if it were anyone else doing it, this wouldn't be called K-pop and probably shouldn't be. So this article, I kind of think's talking about the leaving the K-pop world. I was hoping to find some facts more about like Jennie's stats and statistics over since she's going solo, and who out of the Blackpink girl group has the most successful independent career so far. I feel like that's something we have to have a look at and have to check out. And quite honestly, I think that it would be really interesting to get those statistics up. And but for now, we'll talk about the process of the K-pop. So what do you think of this, guys? What do you think of this article? The fact that, I don't think you can just I don't think it is K-pop anymore. I'd say, like we joked about, I'd say it was Gen Pop. Gen Pop is the new thing. It's the new era, man. Come on. Like, it's incredible. Even the fact that she was able to, like they say in the article, all about the swearing and stuff, I think she's really come into her own. This is just my personal opinion now. I think she's come into her own. I think that, heavy is the head that wears the crown. And in that sense, I'm going to say the crown is the management, the label in this sense. You hear a lot of artists talk about the kind of restrictions, the restraints that come from being on a label. Doesn't allow you to be as free. And I think we see that most clearly. The best example could be literally the Blackpink girls going into their solo careers, because you have seen how drastic the change was. So how much are these labels holding these girls and boys and artists back to restrictions, to perform as what they would like or what they can allow? So I think that's a really big thing that's going kind of under the radar at the minute. with these labels. Like how much are these labels restricting people from making their true music? You know, because why would you see such a drastic change? If that wasn't the case, then maybe the individual girl songs from Blackpink would be exactly the same as their old Blackpink songs, but they're not. They're different. They're so different in many ways. Like Freedom, it almost looks like Freedom, and maybe we should talk about that and start questioning that. But yeah, anyway, guys, like I said, this is on the this is called Beyond K-pop, the Korea Times article. If you want to go check that out and have a little bit of a read, but yeah, man, I think it's time to stop saying K-pop and start calling it Gen Pop, and just I think it does feel outdated. I feel like it's hard to talk. Well, I feel like it's outdated in this conversation. I just mean within obviously Jennie's music career now, her songs that she has done recently, but make that very clear. Calling K-pop outdated is very, very, that's just not right. That's so wrong as well. We're talking about Jennie's future, Jennie's solo career so far since leaving Blackpink in 2024, 25, is it? Or was it 2021? I can't remember. Well, that last album together was 2021, wasn't it? Anyway, but yeah, I'll leave that with you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Let me know, please let me know down below your comments and your thoughts and your suggestions. They're very, very important. And let's start a debate. Let's start a conversation about this. And if you want to see more content, then make sure you go down below and subscribe. Cheers, guys.